So Candace Owens announced she was suspended from YouTube for a week after interview with Kanye West, which YouTube removed for violating hate speech policies by promoting anti-Semitic claims, specifically that Jewish people control the media. Owens blamed the suspension of Zionists, stating their tactics never change. Owens revealed that YouTube also demonetized her account, which has 2.4 million followers, and received 3 back-to-back content hits within minutes. She asserted, we all know who exactly is behind this and why, again, appear to blame the Zionists. Owens has a history of controversial statements, including defending Nick Fuentes, praising criticism of Jews in Biden's administration, claiming that allies caused more damage than the Nazis during World War II. Tom, thoughts on this story?
Well, you know, you got to be so careful these days. And, you know, here she goes. She's got an opinion. She interviews Kanye West. And she is claiming that almost immediately, and we just look at what she said, almost immediately there were hits and complaints that came. I think she called it a farm. And whenever you say farm in the internet, it means like you've got a large group of people that are coordinating at once to complain or to ratio something. You know, it's a big wave. And so she's saying that as soon as I did this, I got this huge wave, and the wave picked on 3 parts of it. And it triggered YouTube review, and I got back-to-back, 1, 2, 3, and then they said, you're demonetized. And so, you know, what's interesting is we have free speech, but there's corners of our free speech that are very, very delicate, and we have to be careful with it. And it doesn't mean we change our viewpoints. It doesn't mean that we, you know, go vanilla and just agree with everything. But, you know, there's 2 things here. One is free speech, and the other is that she's stepping on something, and there's a group of people out there that are getting very upset and apparently wielded some influence. And YouTube then decides, well, wait a minute, YouTube, are you a publisher or are you a platform? And this is the classic thing about the FCC guideline. And YouTube comes back and says, nope, you got 3 strikes immediately and you're demonetized. And so,
Vinny, what are your thoughts?
Well, me and Rob today tried to even look at the interview for the Kanye one. Couldn't find it. Rob, it's still, I mean, it's nowhere to be found, right?
No, there's
By the way, that's a good question. Is it still on Spotify?
That's a very good question. Because I actually, listen, you know how I feel. I adore Candace, but I honestly didn't see 1 second of it. I don't know what's happening. But to rewind, I mean, Kanye isn't even allowed to, like the last time Kanye was on YouTube, wasn't he? Take anything that was, I did a spoof on Kanye's interview and I got taken down. Is it on there? I don't think
looking.
it is.
I can't even find her channel. So
but it's like and again, like Tom said, back to back to back to back. It's. By the way, even having Kanye on, like that's almost. I'm shocked that it didn't happen that first time. But all it takes is for people to go on there and say, "This bothers me. This bothers me. This bothers me." And I mean, YouTube is pretty lenient towards the person complaining instead of the content creator.
Rob, did you find the Kanye on Spotify? Because that's very important.
I'm still looking.
Spotify, podcast, Candace. What's the show called? What is it actually called?
Her channel is called Candace.
Okay, so if I go to Candace on Spotify.
the Michael Jackson piece is still up.
No, I'm trying to see. Is it
there's Kanye right there.
Zoom in?
Scroll up. A little more. There you go.
When was this?
October 17th, 2022. She put it out on August 7th of this year. So it was uploaded on August 7th, but it is still live.
So so this is an older one that go back to it on what it says, zoom in a little bit. On October 17th, you sat down with me for an interview at my house. Now that I have my own platform. Oh, so meaning at Daily Wire, they didn't want to do it. And now they do want to do it. And then... So Spotify keeps it on and YouTube takes it down and gives a strike?
That's what I'm saying. So Spotify's cool with... So I'm just curious. Yeah. Are their terms and conditions the same as Spotify?
This is the part that I'm not a fan of this, man. Like, listen, have the conversation. Let them have the conversation and let them see what it's about. And other people will either agree, tear it apart. Argument leads to more conversation and dialogue. As long as there is no... inciting violence as somebody's doing. Why is Spotify comfortable keeping it on and YouTube is not comfortable keeping it on? That's what's weird to me. So this is why Spotify has won in the last 4 years and why they were able to get Joe Rogan to re-up. You know, and look how confident Spotify is, where Spotify is like, Joe, not only will we re-up, upload everything you want on YouTube as well. We don't have a problem with that. Wow. And we'll pay you $50 million more than we gave you 2.5, 3 years ago.
And during the transition, they defended Joe Rogan and left some of his content up while other people were taking down certain episodes.
Now, the difference is YouTube is based out of U.S. headquarters, Google, right? So you got Silicon Valley. And Spotify's headquartered out of what? Where's Spotify's headquarters?
I think it's in Sweden.
That's right.
Oh, really?
Daniel Ek has nothing to do with the States.
Oh, okay.
So they're in a different place. Adam, what are your thoughts about this?
Well, I think first and foremost, the most important thing to say by far is that I believe in free speech. And I think that's something that should be established, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, right? The price you pay for free speech is free speech. Now, that doesn't mean that I appreciate or enjoy or agree or disagree with everything that Candace says or that anyone says for that matter. It would be very easy for me at this point as a Jewish content creator to try to dunk on Candace Owens. I told you this, Candace. Truth be told, I actually like Candace. We've had good times together. We've done content together. She's actually an enjoyable person. So what I want to do is separate the person from the personality, or the art from the artist, as they say, or from the person from the problem. In my humble opinion, since her very ugly breakup with Ben Shapiro in the Daily Wire, her entire agenda has been basically going to battle with the quote unquote, the Zionists. And I just think my question to her is, where do you want to go with all this? Because, you know, the whole thing where, you know, the Zionists did it, the Jews control the media. Well, certain Jews control certain media companies. You know, the way that I look at it is money and success is energy. Where do you put your energy? And if you would put your energy into something, you'll end up doing well in something, you know? So, you know, the blacks control the NBA. No, they're just really good at playing basketball and they're doing really well at that. Awesome. You know, Indians control all the 7-Eleven. It's like, no, that they are entrepreneurs who end up finding a niche that they can excel in. You know, why aren't Jews dominating the NFL? Well, that's just not kind of how they're built. They've developed skills, you know, especially Ashkenazi Jews, that has translated well over time into media, banking, creativity, what have you. Go do your research as to why. You can go back thousands of years to the beginning of banking and the Rothschilds family and usury and all that. So I'm not a fan of these racist all or nothing tropes. Well, it's all this. So the biggest thing with Candace is that more than anyone, she should understand how the concept of groupthink. She was the poster child for being a black female to say, yeah, I'm not just going to do lockstep with the Democratic Party. I'm an independent thinker. I'm going to do my own thing. That cuts across all races, ideology, what have you. Not all Jews do this. Not all blacks do this. Not all Indians do this. So she's falling into a very negative trap where she's just playing the blame game. And I want to see how ugly this can get for her. And I hope it doesn't get even uglier.
By the way, here's how life works. In life, you know, you have to choose certain swords you're willing to die on. And great. If that's your sword, guess what? Respect. Go for it. Go all the way to the end. If that's what you're willing to do and it's worth all of it for you. That's one. Two, regardless of it all, if there's no inciting violence, if there's none of that stuff taking place, what's wrong with leaving it on? By the way, just yesterday, just so you guys know, just yesterday, Kanye posted something on his Instagram account. He hasn't for the longest time, but he did yesterday, okay? On his Instagram account. You want to know how many likes it got? It got 1.7 million likes, okay? It got 19.3 million views. So guess what? Who the hell is listening to this 19.3 million views, 1.7 million likes? The guy is still loved as an artist. He's still liked as an artist. People still want to hear him out. Artists have always had some creative stuff that they've said. Even back in the days when Michael Jackson had the one song, all I want to say is that they don't really care about us. Right? He's Jew, and he talks about right. All the stuff that he says, and then they told him to take those two lines out. Right? You got to take that out. You can't put that in there. Artists, all artists have always been a little bit, you know, creative in their own ways. But again, there is risk with that. Adidas doesn't have to do business with you. They can choose not to do business with you. So if the hill you want to die on is you're okay with losing a few $1 billion that was going to go to your kids, and no problem. If for you is these guys behind closed doors make your life a living hell that you want to go after them, no problem. Do your thing. If Candace is no problem, go do your thing. However, there's also one other thing to be thinking about. This is it. This is all I'll say on this part. Is we're at the Vol conference. You remember? Were you in the CO session, or were you talking to the girl? So we're at the CO session. This one guy comes up. I don't know if you remember or not. This guy comes up, and he's got a big YouTube channel. I won't say his name because he knows who he is. And he says, "Here's what I want to do, and da-da-da-da, and here's what I'm worried about." What are you worried about? Censorship. Being canceled. I remember that. I said, okay, can you do me? So I said, how many strikes do you have? So I said, what if this happens? I said, okay, how many? I think he said he just got a strike or something like that. I said, how many strikes do you think we've gotten with Valuetainment and Puberty podcasts? He says, I don't know, none. I think he said that. Again, I don't remember that context. I said, Mario just had a wonderful session backstage. It was very peaceful and meaningful. So Mario comes up, right? And Mario comes up. I said, Mario, how many strikes have we gotten in the last 10 years? You know, Mario says
15 to 20.
What did his words? You were in the room.
I swear I was there 15 to 20.
By the way, for those watching, we've gotten 15 to 20 strikes. By the way, 2 times our YouTube channel got to 2 strikes. You know what 3 strikes is? You're out. Many times, PBD Podcasts, we couldn't do podcasts for a week or 2 weeks because we couldn't go live. You know, if you get 2 strikes, you can't do a live podcast.
Oh, because they don't trust you.
No, that's the YouTube guideline.
Okay.
I think it's 1 strike. It used to be 2 strikes. If you have 2 strikes pending within 90 days, you can't do a live. If you get 3 strikes within a 90-day period, they deplatform you.
Yeah,
Done.
2 strikes, you're on probation, and you lose your privilege to be live.
So for us, we probably have a lot more strikes than a lot of people think. We just went through it. We went through it so many times that Mario would dispute it, and we'd go back and forth and all this other stuff. There is ways to deliver messages where you can express your conviction where you're at and still give the information of what you think is going on and let the audience decide on what they're doing. If you want to have the pride of, I got the platform, I got this, I got that, I'm going to Rumble, I'm going to this place, that's also okay. That is a marketing method. You know, there's guys that have bragging, 6 times canceled on Twitter. 5 times, deplatform off YouTube. I got 3 strikes and out, and I'm on Rumble now. This is why Rumble's the best platform. That's capitalism. If you don't want to get the strikes, go to Rumble, go to these different platforms, and let it rip. And then Rumble is eventually going to have to sit there and say, hey, you're publicly traded. Your stocks got to make some money. You got to get some sponsorship. I'm not making any money on Rumble. I was making more money on YouTube. And then Chris has got to figure that part out. This is how capitalism works, because at the end of the day, nobody's doing all of this stuff for free. You're trying to feed who? Your family. So guess what? Now it's kind of like, dude, now that you're not creating content, now what happens with the money part? So I don't know. I think it's hard to, again, if you say, I don't give, it's my, well, hell, I'm willing to die on, there is no conversation and debate. Mm-hmm. No problem, bro. Go for it. Light it up. Do your thing if that's what you want to do. But at the same time, I think it's absolutely dumb that YouTube took that interview down. Let people watch it. Let people see it. Let people see what the conversation was about. What is wrong with art as long as it is not inciting violence? As long as it's not that. I'm not from a place of saying that community shouldn't exist. That people should be this. I am 0 tolerance for that. I'm Armenian. I had a guy yesterday on the podcast. His name is Douglas Murray. We had a very good conversation together, and it got awkward multiple times. I think the audience can enjoy it. You know what's one of the questions I asked him? I asked him a question. I said, so, about the Armenian genocide, and 34 countries have recognized it as a genocide that happened. I said, the Holocaust, 100 plus countries have recognized that it happened, including Germans, reparations, all this stuff. Why hasn't Israel recognized the Armenian genocide? There's nothing wrong with asking that question. Mm-hmm. And then maybe Israel can answer that and say, maybe it's this, maybe it's the partnership with Turkey. I said, listen, we get a lot of messages that, hey, how do you guys get your stories? Everything you've been doing. Eventually, I decided to invest a lot of money into it, hired 15 machine learning guys to make a new site available to you guys. We wanted to build it for us, but we're making it public to everybody. It's a freemium. Then there's 2 different paid aspects to it called news.ai. I'm going to play a commercial for you. This is the first time you're seeing a commercial to understand what this is all about. This is an aggregated site where you need to only visit one news site that feeds everything in from others. No bias. We're not writing the articles. Other people are writing it, and you get to read the article and say, this is a left source, this is a right source, this is center. Rob, play this clip. Go for it.
There are currently 8.2 billion people on Earth. 6.9 billion use their smartphones to read an astonishing 2 million news articles every day. Before you read another news article, it's important to understand how news outlets make money. Change, conflict, controversy. In other words, the angrier you get, the more money they make. So how do you get your peace of mind back when every outlet has their own motive?
The media leaving out the full context of what Trump was saying, instead pumping out these types of headlines.
Left-leaning, right-leaning. Who can you trust? Introducing news.ai, an innovative news source that uses AI and machine learning to deliver a more human understanding of what's going on. There's more than one side to every story. Who's covering it? What are their agendas? Why is one side reporting a story when the other side is ignoring it? VT News shows them all. Access to 130,000 news sources. Most advanced AI in news. Ability to chat with VT AI. Bias meter showing the number of left, right and center sources. Lopsided stories are clearly identified. News timelines covering the lifespan of the story and predictions. Bring the pursuit of truth to your fingertips. Visit vtnews.ai, your only destination for news.
We are so excited about this. We are so excited about this that finally this product is here that we can release to you. We shared this at the Vol conference. The reception was absolutely insane. For those of you guys that run podcasts or you're busy like me, you're somebody that's an executive businessman, you're running around, you got a lot of things going on. You don't have time for a lot of things. You just kind of want to see the motives and the bias on the stories. Go become a member. There's 3 tiers. The freemium, you got the 2nd tier and a 3rd tier that gives you unlimited amount of questions and customization for your own news, including local. Mess around with it. Go to vtnews.ai. We got a lot of big plans with this year because it's another one of those businesses that feeds into what we're doing. Again, go to vtnews.ai, become a member, take advantage of the freemium or anything else that it offers for you. And we're excited about other things that's coming in the future with this.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.